Do you think it's going a little too far now? It's interesting because science has obviously had all of these amazing breakthroughs, but I was talking about this on my show where it's getting a bit sci-fi, where you're starting to hear people that are turning to IVF not because of necessity, not because they can't give birth, but for vanity reasons. And, I just don't want to be pregnant. I don't,
You mean the rent a womb thing?
Well,
that the
also,
rich
I think,
people?
Naomi Campbell, she just had a kid. They're having kids at 60, at 55. And I'm just going, okay, there might have been a biological reason for why women aren't supposed to have kids at 55. Your energy's different. Your body's going through different things. You're not able to give the kids the things you're supposed to. And then when we start
you simply don't care because you need a nap.
Well, yeah, having a child at 22 has got to be different than having a child at 60, which people are now have the option to do.
Well, it's an accessory, it feels like.
And then they're coming out and saying why they didn't have the kids. And it's like, well, I just didn't want to have kids then. So now I'm going to have a child at 55. And I just think, wow, having a child at 55, are you depriving a child of a certain energy? And some women are being honest about it. They're like, yeah, I don't have the energy for this. I'm like,
what about Khloe Kardashian? She was honest. She's like, I could give a shit for this kid.
Yeah, I actually...
Was that weird?
Strangely, I was super appreciative that she was so honest, because she did say that nobody tells you how weird it is to show up at the hospital and you take a baby from somebody else who's just been carrying it for 9 months. And yeah, it's your genetics are inside of this baby, but this baby was just literally inside of some other woman who's now going to have to deal with her body having milk fill, and she's got no baby to give the milk to. The emotionality of that, and she just shows up dressed up at a hospital and takes the baby and walks out. She said it felt very transactional, and that not enough people are talking about how she had issues, bonding with the child. And I thought it was actually quite brave of her. And then she said, Kim didn't feel that way. And I'm like, well, Kim also sold her own sex tape. So, I think, we shouldn't be setting a litmus test for whether people are having normal human emotions when it starts with Kim Kardashian. And I think right now there's just this push for women to think that it's so normal. Like, IVF's in the back of your mind, you know what I mean? Like, you can just get a surrogate, and nobody talks about kind of the dark side of the industry and what really goes on in the surrogacy industry. Mm-hmm. And I think everything that starts as well-intentioned, which I think the intention was meaningful, I literally can't get pregnant, somehow Hollywood gets a hold of it, and it kind of turns into this weird factory.
Yeah, it's like child trafficking.
In a weird way.
Yeah, it's like these rich gay guys are hiring like hillbillies that make $20 a year with no teeth.
And they're desperate. So I think it's different if you find a surrogate, like you hear these stories and somebody turned to their sister. Like, I have kids very easily. My sister couldn't have a child, and could you hold our child? And you hear these wonderful stories, and it's this gift, and they've never had even one child. But then when you find these people, like you're talking about, these like wealthy gay men who just don't want to have sex with women. I don't want to have sex with women, but I want to have a child. And they find some poor, destitute woman who needs what really isn't a lot of money that they're getting for putting their body through, putting their body. $20K. And that's first the eggs. Just for the eggs, you're getting $20K.
Barfing for 3 months. Hemorrhoids hanging down to your knees.
You can pay a premium for them to give them the breast milk. It's just something about it it's gotten quite
slavery.
It's a form of slavery, and I found myself agreeing with this far left feminist who wrote a piece on it. I think she went after Priyanka Chopra, and she was saying, this industry won't be. I won't find this to be a measure of equality until you tell me that there are wealthy women that are having children for poor women.
People. Yeah, it's a commodity. Everything is now.
Yeah.
Are you scared? Are you scared more? Are you afraid as a mother for your children what kind of world they're going to live in?
I'm not afraid, no, because I know person. Birthing person, please have some respect for the gay men who are birthing people as well. But yeah, I'm definitely not afraid. It's weird. Because I know who I am and I know what I would never allow. And I think people that have fears are only fearful because they don't have what it takes to stand up to certain things. And people are really care what people think about them. They care about, I don't want to be the mom that raises this issue, the emails that I get, but I just wanted to let you know, maybe you could cover it at my child's school, and could you cover my name? I would never be that parent. Like, I want people to know that I put this out into the universe. I want people to know that I am the I am a problematic mother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are never going to have any control over my child that I do not have. And I think because somehow government plus the culture has fractured parents from that strength.
Yeah, they want to separate us from, raising our own kids.
Yeah, and they're apprehensive, and so they're looking for people like me or other people to say something for them. And I keep reminding them that this is your household. You know, I never worried about masks and vaxxing and things of that nature because it wasn't allowed in my house. It just wasn't allowed. We had people come in, we had a night nurse, and I remember she came in, my son was just a couple of months old, and she came in with a mask. And it was the first time we had used a night nurse in Tennessee. And I said, you don't have to wear that here. And she said, oh, I choose to wear that. And I said, oh, well, you can't work here. My son's not going to wake up in the night to a stranger wearing a mask.
No
It's
kidding.
just not going to happen. So if you're not comfortable with that, I'm not comfortable with you being here. You can control, you get to set your own boundaries in your household. You get to set your own boundaries in terms of where you send your children to school. And
your kids are not school aged?
They're not school aged yet. We're just starting to look now, and I'm not wanting to throw my child into daycare because I just like having him home. He's a nut. These years go by super fast. He's really getting his personality, and he's acting a lot like me, which is very funny. He's very sure of himself.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so I don't want those years to be given to daycare. But and I'm obviously blessed that I'm able to keep him at home. I know not every person has the means to do that, and certainly
I don't think they should have them unless they can keep them at home with them.
Yeah, and everyone's circumstance is different. Like my sisters, when they had to work from home, and there was no option for them. So and so I'm aware of that. I'm privileged in the sense that I can say that I want to keep my child at home, that I can do my podcast and be done by 11 a.m. and be home. But I am very much prepared and have started doing the research into what schools that I want to send my child to.
What about homeschooling? I homeschooled my youngest.
I'm thinking about it only because I do think that schools slow kids down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible how quickly you can learn at home. They're like sponges. And they would be so much more advanced if they're not being hindered by, well, this is what they need to learn at this age. And my sister
Plus, they go by the dumbest kid.
You're bringing them down.
Yeah.
Instead of going up. So I don't want that. But there are some wonderful schools in Tennessee, Christian schools in Tennessee that we're taking a look at. And we're just now going to start touring, and everyone's trying to get into them. And there's long wait lists. So
aren't you afraid of teachers? Because, they're all, not all, but I mean, there's such a large number of them that are secret perverts. Even in school churches.
If I was putting my child in school in Los Angeles, I'd probably have more fear than down in Tennessee. A little different. The mindset's a little bit different in Tennessee, and especially where we're looking.
You like Tennessee. You said you moved as soon as you got pregnant.
Yeah, the small town mentality is where you want to be.
Yeah, I agree.
How people handle things like that.
Especially in an open carry state.
Yeah. We still got the good old boys down in Tennessee, and so it was for us very intentional to move down to the South and not to be obsessed with the politics of the North or the politics of the West in terms of California. So we're comfortable where we are.
That's cool. Well, I like Texas too.
Yeah.
Open carry, I love it. I shot a 6-point buck deer and then made sausage out of him. It's the best sausage I've ever eaten in my life. That's why I killed him, because I tasted this sausage and I'm like, damn, I'm going to go get me one. And I thought it's kind of right that you'd kill your own meat rather than making somebody else do it. And then
it's important.
Yeah.
It's important to, and that's...
Make your own fire.
Right. All of it. And that's something that I've really dived into since getting married. My husband's always hunted. And I did my first hunt at the end of last year.
Cool.
Yeah, which was great. It was amazing. And I recommend that every person does it because it is important to know where your food comes from. It doesn't come from a grocery store.